Breathwork changed my life, now I'll help you change yours. In 2013, my world was turned upside down when my partner was murdered. I was thrown into grief, a place I never expected to be. The last decade plus has been a journey of healing, learning what works and what doesn't. Also how to rebuild from the darkest of places. I founded Vidya Breathwork, a method designed to make healing simple and accessible, and now I train facilitators to share this transformative practice globally. Welcome to The Dark Side with Verity, the podcast where we get real about transformation, growth, and stepping into your strength. Let's dive in. Welcome back. Today I'm going to share my experience with EMDR therapy. EMDR is eye movement desensitization reprocessing. This process is done with a psychologist, and I wanted to go and experience it for myself. So I will share with you all that came up for me. But before we begin, we start with our breath. Settle in, take a big inhale, and a full exhale, just let it go. Beautiful. Choosing to go back to a psychologist was a rather large step for me because I feel like I'd done a lot of work, and mainly it was out of curiosity because I thought if my clients are going to see a psychologist and they're moving through this process, I want to know and experience it for myself so I know firsthand what comes up, what it feels like basically. So I went through the process, and me being me, I thought I'd just go in and it would be one session, done. It was not. It was, I would say, 3 to 4 months of my life that I was like wiped. I mean, I could still function, I could still do things, but I didn't really plan for it, so it kind of shocked me in that phase. The first few sessions are mapping out everything. So you kind of map out and plan out what you've been through in life, what's happened, what you still have an emotional reaction, or it's still upsetting you, I guess. Because ideally, it's moving stuck emotions out of your body, out of your brain, so that they don't have such a massive impact. When you think about them, you're not bawling your eyes out. And it's funny, like going in there, I'm like, oh, yep, the usual things. This happened when I was 16. This happened, my nan died. My partner died. I did this. I was this. I did this. It's like the list kind of like goes on from all of these things, which I've dealt with them all, like all separately and at all different times of my life. But I guess it kind of like opened this can of worms back up that I probably didn't plan for. Who plans when they heal? Everything kind of came flooding back. And so I thought that I would really love the process because it was rapid eye movement is an NLP technique, and breathwork is about moving and shifting emotions through your body so you can feel them so they're not get stuck. So ideally I thought I would just love the entire process. I think it's good. It was good. It definitely was good for me. I recommend it, but I felt it was good because I still had the tools of being able to support myself after the sessions. So once we start and got into the sessions, I loved them because it wasn't just me talking. It's the psychologist would run you through the sessions, like think of the memory, do the eye movement, and over time, like the intensity dissipates in your body because you start to rewire the pattern to your brain. And for me, that worked better than me having to talk about or tell my story, because already when I'm telling something, it's already like I'm trying to fix it before it gets out of my mouth. So, oh yeah, I've done this, but I have compassion. oh yeah, I've done this, but it's okay because of this. I feel this, but I understand why because blah, blah, blah. And like that is exhausting and it's almost like a space where I'm like, am I telling them how I'm actually feeling? Like, yes, I'm being honest and saying because that's how my brain works. But almost am I doing this right? Or am I like telling them what they want to hear? Which sounds ridiculous because that was never it's not my intention when I go in. I just want to share, but I think my brain processes it all so quickly, and I've been working with this stuff for so long that it's like I know without allowing myself time. I know the reason why, but I'm not actually feeling it in that process. So it was really helpful in that aspect because I didn't have to say anything. I just had to locate, feel it in my body, and let her know when it had moved through. So to me, like that worked because it was more somatic techniques and not like pre-planned speech or telling a story. But after each session, I would feel like shit. And so it felt nice to have a session, go home, go for a walk along the beach, like a little bit of movement in my body, and then drop into a breathwork session because then I felt lighter and clearer after. I don't know if that's what they recommend, but that's what worked for me because if I was left in that state, like it's like you're cracked open and then you're just like, here, off you go, open. Whereas I guess the difference in breathwork, it's safety, you're cracked open, you're supported and grounded before you leave the session. You don't leave anyone like cracked open. Here, off you go. So I think the two combined is beautiful. I do definitely think they work well together. And it's most of the stuff that I do with my facilitators in the training and I do with my clients one-on-one anyway, because you have to map out what you've been through in life. And there may be blind spots, which is what will come up in the breathwork sessions. Because logically, oh yeah, this happened, but I have compassion for this person now. Or you can make sense of most of it logically, but that's not going to heal. That's the space of understanding. Then we move into the breathwork to heal. So I guess it's the same theory, is that you do your mapping out in EMDR and then you do your rapid eye movement to release it from the body. So the backing, I guess, is similar. When I'm working with clients one-on-one, it's that process of really understanding your coping mechanisms because you have them for a reason, whether it was survival, whether it was like shutdown, whether it was just to cope, whether it was just to feel happy, to keep moving forward in life. Whatever it was, there's like a reason and it's a protection thing, right? So we need to figure out why. Your body needs to have awareness of that and understanding. Then it still needs to be felt. Like we can't just logically know why. If we did, we'd all be fine, right? But there needs to be time and space where you go back to that moment and process that emotion so it's not stuck anymore and it moves through you. Because if it stays stuck in the body, and even if you don't believe this and you do a breathwork session, you feel tetany and when you feel that release, you know emotion has been released and you can understand it. You can physically feel it in that if you don't believe me. But in this, if your emotions get stuck in your body and you don't know how to process them, that then gets like tension, that's tightness, that becomes stress, and that becomes dis-ease in the body. Because we have our energy, our prana, our chi, whatever lineage you want to go by and call it, it needs to flow through the body. So if it gets stuck, it needs somewhere to go. Otherwise, it's just going to grow and get bigger and more painful. So if we are able to move these emotions through the body, but go back to the time where it happened and we need to feel that. Because maybe at that time that it happened, we didn't have the support, the safety, the time. For whatever reason, we were choosing not to feel it then. So then we can just create space in our lifetime now to feel. And maybe that's in one breathwork session, or maybe that's carved out in your 5 minutes per day, whatever works for you. But the body needs space to do this. Otherwise, it festers as things that we hold as resentment, or we blame, or we become a victim, or you know the things. Like, we just feel stressed and life is not fun and we feel stuck. So the whole the processes are quite in alignment of what they are. They're just different methods. And so when I created this process, I created it because it's what I did, out of need to understand why. And so there's that logical space of, through our lifetime when we were born to the age we are now, looking back at it all with compassion was one of the biggest game changers, because in our minds, oh yeah, I know that happened to me. But when you can visually see it and map it out, okay, that was a pretty massive thing that happened to me. I've made sense of it at the time. When I was raped, I had beautiful support from my mum and my mum's friend, and my way of moving through it was, at least I'm alive. Like, I made it out. I ran away. And that gave me comfort that I was still alive. It's like one of those moments of, well, at least. But I had to go back to those moments of feeling in that time of like how hurt I was. I was covered in bruises. There was physical signs that like it took a while for my body to be clear of. So I had to go back and feel angry, like so angry that this had happened. I had to because in moments like you're at that age and you think you can trust people. So then I also had to forgive myself, because I blamed myself for trusting someone. Like my boss, like you think that you can trust these people. And so there's all these different mixed emotions where like I'd gotten to a point in life where I was obviously okay. There were methods I'd used to heal and numb or whatever that weren't ideal. I get that. But I went back to these moments in time where I felt those and processed those. And it's important, I think, to do that. It's not to like reopen old wounds. It's just to really make sure they're clear. Because I didn't know breathwork back then when I was 16. I didn't understand my nervous system. I didn't understand any of these tools. I was told and supported and loved through the process of, I am still alive. I'm okay. And that then allowed me to continue to move forward. But it also, now that I have a deeper understanding of it all, maybe if I'd done this stuff prior, I would have had more self-worth and respect for my body, and because it gave me a belief that, I don't actually know what the belief was, but almost, well, someone took this away from me previously, like it didn't become sacred, I guess, for a period of my life. And now, like, my energy is really sacred, and I understand this in such a different way. So I really know now how important breath work and stuff is if people have been through abuse, which is sexual or physical, whatever it is, how much that can really help, because it allows you to process all these emotions and allows you to come back to the space of feeling worthy and feeling enough and re-trusting yourself and having trust in others and life and your body, like all of the things. It allows you to go back to that time, move and shift those emotions, those memories, and allowing your body to feel whole again. I guess is probably the best way that I can describe my experience anyway. So yes, both therapies work. I always just I feel better after a breathwork session. Both are exhausting because it's emotional exhaustion. Both you're processing and shifting stuck emotions from the brain. For me personally, I did love the process of EMDR, I also did add my own breathwork in to the process too, because leaving a session, it's like, ugh. It's just a lot for your body. And I think just being well versed and equipped with all these tools, you have more to utilize. So why not use them? Why not feel good through the process? Why not allow yourself time to feel, but also move through it, create space and feel happier also. So yeah, that's my EMDR experience. And it's all of these processes, like in my training, I teach all my students NLP techniques, because sometimes people do get stuck and it may be helpful for them to do. I feel like it made my life make sense having this massive toolkit, because there's so many things that arise in life and so many more people you can help or offer support to if you have these. You just become a better human because you know how to look after yourself in a healthy way. You know how to be there healthily to support others so that it's not draining and all your boundaries aren't fluffy. It just allows you to continue to move through this wild journey of life with a bit more ease and flow. And then it gets funnier. Trust me. Way funnier, because it's one big joke. No. I say that with lots of love. Sometimes I think it can be taken out of context. If you make life lighter and one big joke, it feels nicer for your body, because everybody's just doing the best they can and shit happens. And so this process is just made funner if you make everything into a game and a bit more of a joke. Like if somebody is constantly mean to you, if you take all of that on board with the heaviness that maybe it's directed at you with, you're going to crumble. But if you see it with compassion of, okay, this person is going through a lot right now. How can I offer support? How can I tell somebody else so that they can offer support? So there's many different ways, and just know that it's not always heavy, because you can breathe lightness into it. Therefore, that will make it feel lighter for you. And it's not like taking the piss. It's just making life feel lighter, because there's things that you cannot change and they're out of your control. So there's not really much point in stressing about them. So all we do is breathe, we create space, and it feels lighter. Enjoy. That's a wrap for this episode of The Dark Side with Verity. I trust it's given you clarity, sparked awareness, and allowed you to breathe a little deeper, plus a little takeaway to integrate into your life. If this has resonated, I'd love you to leave a 5-star review, of course. More importantly, I would love you to share this with someone who's on their journey and needs a little bit of assistance. Come hang out with me over at Instagram at VerityJoCoonan or The Dark Side with Verity, or start to explore Vidya Breathwork at verityjocoonan.co. Until next time, breathe deep, trust the process, and keep expanding. Much love.